Hey y'all, I'm your girl, rapper, singer, Blondie Pink, comedian, actress, civil rights leader, political scientist, evangelist, Michelle Hope Walker. This is more, I would say, the political scientist part of me, evangelist part, and civil rights part. The young black lady who was found hung on a tree in Mississippi. One of my key concerns is thank God for the news that is giving those parents media attention, because again, we talk about how, black women go missing, things happen to black women and nobody's really worried about it, So I am glad to see that the news media owns them. I am wondering about where these civil rights leadership groups are, where are the attorneys to go and help them, because a lot of time, if it's a black man, or of course we know if it's other races, people are everywhere trying to figure out what happened, so please make sure y'all paying attention to that, because again, y'all know I got my organization, Justice for Black Women. Y'all know I talk about racism against black women. Have an ongoing documentary of that, real life, things I experienced, things I see other people experience. So really, this is one of them. I could you do this one day. They don't come look for us. They don't come look at what happened to us. So everybody get focused on that too, just like they would get focused on if it was a black man or if it was another race, a person that was found hanging on a tree. All right, y'all, I'm civil rights leader, also your 2016 United States of America presidential candidate, Michelle Hope Walker. Y'all, let's all come together and pay some more attention to what happened to her, how she just ended up hanging from a tree. And they're trying to say boyfriend, but I don't know. A lot of times, even with domestic violence stuff, a lot of times you don't always, most cases, that's not something what black men usually do when they abuse you. A lot of times it's in the house or they doing some other stuff. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't, but it needs to be looked into, especially as the news has said with Mississippi's history and the hanging on the tree and how they hung black people on trees, So, all right, y'all, today is August 10th, 2026. Everybody, make sure you're paying attention to that, just like you would pay attention to all kind of other civil rights issues. And again, when it's a black man, everybody everywhere trying to figure out what happened. So when it's a black woman, it should be the same type of thing. Everybody should be running around trying to figure out what happened, let's figure out, let's find out. Again, when we talk about racism against black women, a lot of times we go, she must have done something, this and that. They're always blaming the black woman for things that people are doing to her. So that's why I tell families, surround the black women in your family with all kind of love, because when they go outside their house, they already got to deal with a lot of challenges just from the color of their skin that people, try to attack negative, negative and biased racist things to them just because the color of skin before they open their mouth. Here I am, got all kind of college degrees, educated, beautiful, smart, and all the rest, but when people see you, they just go negative, think thoughts of negativity about black women before they think positive. So even when something happens to a black woman, people are not too quick to jump on to try to figure out what they should be. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everybody, because there are a lot of people that be like, oh, wait a minute, watch out, what's going on? Like the Say Her Name groups, or African American policy forum, different things. They jump on it quick, what I'm saying? And other women groups. But we need to jump on this. How did she get hanging from a tree? How did that happen? Y'all saying the boyfriend because he lived down the street. Well, we got video everywhere, and the cameras and everywhere. That's what I tell people, people that be trying to do crimes and think they're going to get them. First of all, that's not my spirit. I got a loving kind spirit where I love everybody. And as you see, I stand up for people, different things like this. And I stand up for black women because I'm black and I know what I experience and I know what I see when I hear about a story or whatever. I know they don't always fairly do the story when it comes to black women. They just maybe show the black woman going off, but nobody show what they did to the black woman before she had to go off. You know what I'm saying? And so the devil is a lie. They didn't attack her and did all kind of stuff, that they wouldn't do to another race of woman, So that's why sometimes other people, well, I just don't get it. I know you don't get it because they don't treat you that way. You're not a black woman. They give you respect. They give you good customer service, and all kind of other stuff. So you don't have to, you couldn't imagine, because they're not doing you like that. Some of this customer service and different things they do to black women, they not about to do it to nobody else. They only do this stuff to black women. So again, we need to find out what's going on. What happened? How did she get hung from a tree? What's going on with that? Y'all saying the boyfriend, okay, well, let's track movement. He got a phone, track his, it's all kind of ways to find out where people, were moving about. I learned that when I'm watching, when they're trying to solve crimes and different things. Y'all know I went out to be a police officer. I did make the list here in Decatur, Illinois, on the sheriff part, but then I began to turn more into the law. And then, of course, I've always been involved in the arts and stuff ever since I was a baby. You know what I'm saying? Art, singing, and performing, rapping, dancing, just all kind of, different dancing. You got as a black woman, you got to make that classified. Dancing and music videos, you all not stripping. Now and again, I don't knock the strippers, do your thing. But instead as a black woman, when you say dancing, first thing folks know, because when you look pretty, hey, watch out now, like me. They want to try to, instead of just saying, oh, you're beautiful, they want to try to say something negative about you. And they feel like saying, oh, you must be a dancer. No, I'm not. I do dancing and music videos. So when my videos and my music, because I'm a rapper and a singer. But, and again, that's not no down take to strippers, because I'm like, do your things. That's what you chose to do. You do your thing. And to me, ain't nothing negative about the profession. That's what they chose to do. That's what they do it. But again, just talking about the negativity that they try to attach, the words, the negative words, and different things that they try to attach to black women, which have something to do with why there are not more civil rights leader groups. Why are there not more people trying to figure out what happened to the girl that found hung from a tree in Mississippi? So like I said, thank God for the different civil rights leader groups that are, All right, y'all, so I'm your girl, rapper, singer, Blondie Pink, comedian, actress, civil rights leader, political scientist, evangelist, your 2016 United States of America presidential candidate, Michelle Hope Walker. And today's date is August 10th, 2026. So civil rights leaders, all these groups that say that's what you do, all right, we'll get to doing. Let's find out how this black girl got hung up from a tree. All right, y'all.